The battlefield was quiet now. Smoke hung in the air like a heavy blanket. The ground was broken, burned, and covered with broken weapons. The sounds of war had faded, but the pain of war was still present. Human soldiers moved quickly across the field, carrying their wounded brothers on stretchers, on their backs, and sometimes even dragging them by hand. The sight was heavy, but there was no panic in their movements. Every soldier knew where to go. Every soldier knew what came next. At the edge of the battlefield stood a large white tent. It was tall, stretched with metal poles, and glowing with strange lights inside. To the alien eyes watching, it looked more like a temple than a tent. They had seen many things in war, but never had they seen humans prepare a place like this. The alien medics stood together, whispering in their own language. Their people had joined this war not long ago, and while they respected the human strength in battle, they had never understood how humans treated their wounded. To them, the idea of carrying so many broken bodies seemed strange. In their culture, the weak were left behind, the injured were given quick mercy, and the battle moved on. But humans refused to leave anyone behind. 2 humans, even a man half dead, was worth saving. The alien leader, a tall figure with blue skin and silver eyes, folded his arms and watched. His people were healers, yes, but healers of a different kind. Their medicine was clean, precise, and bloodless. They used machines that healed small wounds and medicines that closed cuts without leaving scars. They had never seen anything like this human ritual of dragging broken, bleeding bodies into a glowing tent. A stretcher passed by him. On it lay a human soldier with half his armor torn away. Blood soaked his chest, and his breathing came in short, sharp gasps. Yet the soldier's comrades did not cry. They ran with urgency, shouting, "Clear the way! Clear the way!" As they rushed him inside, the alien medics exchanged nervous looks. The humans were not afraid of blood. They were not afraid of death. Instead, they moved like fighters who had just entered a new kind of battle, the battle to save life. From inside the tent came the sounds of shouting, voices calling out numbers, metal tools clinking, machines beeping with high, sharp tones. The alien medics leaned closer, trying to understand what is happening in there. One alien whispered, "Are they cutting him?" Another asked, disbelief in his voice. "They cannot save someone that broken," the leader muttered. "It is impossible." But still, more humans entered the tent. Some carried soldiers missing limbs. Some brought men burned black from explosions. And still, the humans shouted, moved, and fought not against the enemy now, but against death itself. The first alien medic dared to step closer to the entrance. He saw a glimpse of what was inside. The sight made his throat dry. Humans wearing blood-stained clothes leaned over the injured soldier. One pressed a mask over the man's face, forcing air into his lungs. Another cut into his chest with a sharp blade, opening his body while machines screamed with alarm. And yet, none of them stopped. None of them hesitated. They worked together, as if this bloody, brutal act was normal. The alien stumbled back, his skin turning pale. They are hurting him," he gasped, but one of the human soldiers outside the tent heard him. "Hurting him," the soldier repeated with a hard laugh. "They're saving him, you just watch." The alien's eyes widened. Saving him? How could cutting and spilling more blood be saving? In his culture, such things were madness. Yet the humans acted as though this was not madness at all. It was a skill, a practice, a war against death that they had trained for. Another stretcher rushed past. This time, the soldier was unconscious, his body limp, his pulse was weak. The aliens watched in silence. Surely, this man was already dead. No being could return from such a state, but the humans did not slow down. "Get him to table 3, a medic shouted. "Prep 4, prep shock pads," another voice cried. The words meant nothing to the aliens, but the urgency was clear by now. A crowd of alien medics had gathered. Their faces showed horror, confusion, and curiosity. They had come to learn from humans, but what they saw felt more like madness than medicine. Still, they could not look away. Inside the tent, another human screamed, not from pain, but from command. "Don't let him go. Not today." The words hit the aliens like thunder. Not today. The humans refused to surrender, even when death itself was standing in the tent. One alien shook his head slowly. "This is not healing. This is war." The leader of the aliens frowned. "No, this is something else. This is survival." The air around the tent grew tense. The smoke outside was thick, but the brightest light on the battlefield came from that glowing white tent. It was no ordinary place. It was a place where humans entered broken, and sometimes walked out alive. The aliens did not understand it yet, but soon they would. And when they did, they would never forget it. For now, all they could do was stand in silence, listening to the sounds of shouting, the clinking of tools, and the cries of life being pulled back from the edge of death. And, deep inside, fear began to rise, not of human weapons, not of human armies, but of human medicine. Asterisk, the white tent pulsed with strange energy. From the outside, it looked ordinary, just fabric stretched over metal poles. But to the aliens watching, it was something alive, something breathing. Light spilled from the opening, and every sound from within pulled at their nerves. The alien medics stood together, whispering in fear and wonder. They had been healers all their lives. Their medicine was clean, soft, and silent. Their methods avoided blood, avoided pain. But here, on this battlefield, humans seemed to do the opposite. They ran toward the injured, toward the bleeding, and into the glowing tent as if it were a second battlefield. Finally, one alien medic gathered enough courage. He pulled his long cloak tighter around his body and stepped forward. His hands trembled as he moved closer to the entrance. His people gasped, but none followed. He alone would see what humans hid behind that curtain of white. When he reached the entrance, the smell struck him first. It was thick and heavy, urine, sweat, and smoke all mixed together. His stomach turned. No healer of his kind had ever faced such a smell. Their healing chambers were clean and filled with soft fragrances. This place reeked of war. He peeked inside. His wide silver eyes froze at the sight before him. Rows of human medics moved like soldiers in battle. Their hands were red, their gloves dripping with blood, but their faces showed no fear. They shouted commands at each other in sharp voices, every sound quick and filled with urgency. Some held strange machines that beeped and flashed. Others used sharp blades to cut open wounded bodies, their movements precise but brutal. On one table lay a soldier whose chest barely rose and fell. His skin was pale, his armor broken. A human medic pressed a mask over his face, pumping air into his lungs. Another sliced his chest open, pulling apart skin and bone. The alien's vision swam. He gripped the side of the tent to keep himself from falling. This is not healing," he whispered to himself. "This is tearing apart." But then something stranger happened. The soldier's heart, which had nearly stopped, began to beat again under the human's hands. The alien saw the chest rise stronger, the machines beat faster. Against all logic, the human was winning a war inside the body. The alien stumbled back a step, but he could not look away. His people had never done anything like this. To them, once life began to fade, it was over. But humans fought even when hope was gone. A second soldier was carried in on a stretcher. His arm was gone, torn away by an explosion. Blood poured freely, staining the floor. The alien gasped, nearly crying out. No one could live after such a wound. No one, but the humans, didn't even pause. One medic clamped the wound with a metal tool. Another tied tubes, and another began stitching with speed that looked more like combat than care. The wounded man screamed in pain, but the medics did not stop. They shouted at him to hold on, their voices sharp but filled with strange encouragement. Stay with us, you're not done yet. Breathe, damn it. The alien shook his head in disbelief. Their people would have let such a man go, given him peace. But the humans, no, the humans dragged him back, no matter the cost. Behind him, another alien medic dared to peek in. The moment his eyes fell on the bloody scene, his knees buckled. He collapsed to the ground, fainting. The others rushed to pull him away, fear spreading among them. But the first alien remained at the entrance, frozen. He had to understand, inside the humans worked without hesitation. They opened bodies, they drilled into bones. They pushed blood back into veins through plastic tubes. The floor was stained red, yet they treated it as if it were normal. The alien realized that these humans were not simply doctors. They were warriors against death itself. He whispered to himself, They fight death like an enemy. Human soldier outside, hearing his words, leaned closer. His face was tired, but his eyes burned with pride. That's right, he said firmly. Death doesn't get to win. Not if we can help it. The alien's chest tightened. He had never thought of medicine this way. To him, healing was quiet, almost sacred. To humans, it was a battle, loud and bloody, but effective. And as more wounded soldiers were carried inside, as more cries filled the air, the alien could no longer deny the truth. Humans were different. They did not just heal. They refused to surrender. The alien stepped back at last, his legs weak. His people gathered around him, their faces pale. What did you see? One asked nervously. The alien swallowed hard, his voice low. I saw war inside the tent, but the enemy was not soldiers. The enemy was death. His words spread like fire among them. Some shook their heads in disbelief, others looked terrified. But all of them knew one thing. They had witnessed something their kind had never dared to imagine. And this was only the beginning, because inside that glowing tent, humans were showing the galaxy a kind of power greater than weapons. A power that did not destroy, but defied the natural order. A power that made even trained alien medics faint. Asterisk, the white tent had become a storm of sound. Shouts, beeping machines, the clatter of metal tools. It was chaos, yet it was a strange kind of order. Took the alien medics stood outside, frozen in fear and wonder. Some had already fainted. Others refused to look again. But a few still lingered near the entrance, unable to stop themselves from watching. Inside, the humans worked like warriors in a second battle. Their enemies were not soldiers with guns or blades, no. Their enemy was death itself. and they fought. It with fire in their eyes. A soldier was rolled in, his skin burned and blackened, his breaths weak and shallow. The alien who dared to peek inside thought surely this man was already lost. His chest barely moved, his body twitched as if the last sparks of life were leaving. But the humans did not pause. "We've got him," one medic shouted. A machine was pulled closer, wires attached to the soldier's chest. The alien leaned forward, confused. What was this strange device? "Clear," a human shouted, and in the next instant, the soldier's body jerked violently as electricity surged through. "Him," the alien gasped, stumbling backward. They were shocking the man hurting him on purpose. His own kind had no such brutal method. To them, such an act would be cruel, even unthinkable. Yet the humans did it again. Clear. Another shock. The soldier's body convulsed once more. The alien's heart raced. "They are killing him," he whispered in horror. But then the machine beeped in a steady rhythm. The soldier's chest began to rise stronger. His weak twitching stopped, replaced by breathing slow but alive. The alien's jaw dropped. They had brought him back, the tent filled with more chaos. Another soldier was placed on the table, this one with his leg shattered and bleeding. Blood poured freely, staining the floor. The alien nearly vomited at the sight. His people would have given such a man peace, ending his suffering quickly. But not the humans. One medic clamped the artery with metal tools, while another drilled into the man's bone with a roaring device. The alien's hands shook as he watched. They were boring into bone. How could such torture be medicine? The soldier screamed, but the humans shouted back at him, not with cruelty but with strength. "Hold on, stay awake. You're going to live." Their voices were hard, demanding, almost like commanders giving orders in battle. The alien stumbled away from the opening, clutching his chest. His mind was spinning. What he had seen was madness. No healer in his world would dare to cut, drill, or shock like this. And yet, it worked, because as he turned back, he saw that same soldier, pale and weak, but alive. Tubes ran from his veins, machines pumped beside him, and the bleeding had stopped. Against all logic, the man who should have been dead was still breathing. Another alien dared to step closer. He peeked inside just long enough to see a soldier's chest opened wide, human hands inside, pushing and pulling, fighting to keep his heart beating. The alien's vision blurred. His body went limp, and he collapsed in the dirt, unconscious. Those still standing pulled him away quickly, fear growing among them. Yet no matter how much terror they felt, none could deny the truth. Humans were not healers like them. Humans were something else entirely. Inside the tent, the shouting never stopped. "More blood. Keep pressure here. He's not done yet." The medics worked with fury, every move fast and deliberate. It was as if they had no fear of blood, no fear of death, only determination to win. The alien leader at last stepped forward. He had watched enough from afar. He needed to see it with his own eyes. When he reached the entrance, the heat and smell hit him at once. His throat tightened, but he refused to turn away. He forced himself to look. A young soldier lay motionless, his chest not rising. The humans did not stop. They pressed on his chest, over and over, breaking ribs in the process. The alien flinched at the cracking sound. His kind would never dare to cause such damage. But the humans didn't hesitate. "Come on, come on," one medic shouted, sweat dripping from his face. Another forced air into the soldier's lungs. A third prepared the shocking device again. Clear. Electricity struck. The soldier's body jumped. Again. Clear. The leader's eyes widened. The machine beeped steadily again. The young man coughed, sucking in air. His eyes fluttered open weakly. The leader's breath caught. This was no accident. This was no madness. This was skill. Brutal, bloody, and terrifying skill. He turned to his people, his voice low but firm. Do you see now? They are not like us. To them, healing is not quiet. Healing is war. The words sank deep into the hearts of every alien medic present. Some shivered, some shook their heads in disbelief. But none could deny what they had seen. Humans were not just fighters on the battlefield. They were fighters inside the tent too. Where others gave up, they fought harder. Where others let go, they refused, for the first time. The alien medics felt fear not of human weapons, but of human will. And as the night dragged on, the sound of shouting and beeping never stopped. Each time they thought a soldier was gone, the humans dragged him back. Each time death reached for a victim, the humans slapped it away. It was terrifying. It was inspiring. It was unforgettable. The galaxy would never look at medicine the same way again. Asterisk, the night dragged on. Outside, the battlefield was silent, filled with smoke and broken machines. But inside the glowing human tent, the real battle never stopped. Death came again, and every time, the humans pushed it back. The alien medics stood further away now, too afraid to go near. Some had fainted earlier, others were still trembling, but all of them watched. They could not look away. Another stretcher arrived. This time it carried a soldier who looked already dead. His body was pale, his lips blue, his blood soaking the sheets beneath him. His chest did not rise. His pulse was gone. To the aliens, this was final. No healer could bring back someone who had already crossed the line, but the humans did not see it that way. Move. Clear a table now. One shouted. He's not gone. Not yet. Another yelled. The aliens stared in disbelief. How could they say such words? The soldier's spirit had already left his body, yet the humans treated him like a fallen comrade in battle, someone who must be pulled back to his feet no matter what. Machines were rushed forward. Wires were pressed to the soldier's chest. A medic pushed down hard on his sternum, breaking ribs with sharp cracks. The sound made the aliens flinch, their skin crawling with horror. Come on, stay with us. The medic roared, another human. Forced air into the soldier's lungs. The machine screamed. Clear. Electricity surged. The soldier's body jumped violently. Nothing. Again, the medic ordered. Clear. Another shock. The alien medics gasped, covering their mouths. It was torture. It had to be torture. And then the machine beeped once, twice, a steady rhythm. The soldier's chest rose weakly, then stronger. His eyes fluttered open, glassy but alive. The aliens froze. Their minds screamed it was impossible, but their eyes could not deny what they saw. The man had returned from death. One alien fell to his knees, whispering to himself, "This cannot be. This cannot be real." Another shook his head violently, muttering, "They are not healers. They are necromancers. They play with death itself." But the humans paid no attention to the alien whispers. To them, this was routine. Life was not surrendered easily. Not when there was still a chance, no matter how small. The soldier was stabilized, hooked to tubes and machines. his body broken but his heart beating. The humans sighed with relief, clapping each other on the back. We got him. He'll make it. The aliens stared, stunned. They would have buried him already. But here he was, alive. Another stretcher arrived, carrying a soldier burned across nearly his entire body. His skin was blackened, his eyes swollen shut, his breaths ragged. The aliens turned away, unable to watch such suffering, but the humans did not flinch. They surrounded him, cutting away what remained of his armor, applying strange creams, wrapping him in white bandages that soaked up blood and fluid. The smell was unbearable, yet the humans continued without pause. The alien leader whispered, "Why fight so hard for one who has no chance?" A human soldier nearby overheard. He turned, his tired eyes hard as steel. "Because until he takes his last breath, he still has a chance." The alien swallowed, unable to answer. Hours passed. Dozens of wounded were carried in. Soldiers who should have died lived. Soldiers who were too broken to move spoke again. Soldiers with no hope opened their eyes. Each miracle carved deeper into the aliens' minds. Their beliefs about life and death, about healing and mercy, were crumbling. Everything they thought they knew was being shattered inside that tent. At last, one alien medic gathered his courage. He walked forward, past his trembling companions, and stepped fully inside the human tent. His knees shook, his stomach churned at the blood-soaked floor, but he forced himself onward. He needed to see more. He needed to understand. He stood at the corner of a table, watching as a soldier with half his body torn open was worked on. The humans stitched his flesh, pumped blood into his veins, forced machines to keep his lungs moving. The alien stared, horrified yet amazed. The man should not be alive, but the humans refused to let him go. Minutes turned to hours. The alien felt his heart race with every cry, every beep of the machines, every desperate command shouted. And then, against everything he believed possible, the soldier opened his eyes. The alien covered his mouth, tears burning his eyes. He lived, he whispered. He truly lived. The human medic beside him looked up, meeting his silver gaze. "This is what we do," the human said simply. "We don't give up, ever." The alien staggered back, his world broken. He had lived his whole life believing death was final, that mercy was release. But now, standing inside the human tent, he realized something terrifying and beautiful. Humans did not just fight wars with guns. They fought wars with their hands, their will, and their hearts. They fought death as if it were just another enemy. To be beaten, and worse for the aliens, it meant one thing. If humans could fight death itself and win, what else were they capable of? The night slowly gave way to morning. Outside the battlefield was silent, the smoke drifting away with the wind. But inside the white human tent, the war against death still raged. The alien medics stood together, shaken and pale. Some had fainted earlier, others whispered in fear, but all of them carried the same haunted look. They had seen things that broke their beliefs, things they never thought possible. Human soldiers, who should have been corpses, now sat weakly, on stretchers, breathing, alive. Men with shattered bodies clung to life because their comrades refused to let them go. The tent, once a place of horror to the aliens, had become a place of impossible miracles. The alien leader finally stepped forward. His silver eyes scanned the rows of wounded humans. Some moaned in pain, some whispered thanks to the medics, and some even tried to smile despite their broken bodies. It was madness, but it was also something else, something greater. He turned to his people. "Look at them," he said softly. "These humans are not afraid of death. They wrestle it, they fight it, and sometimes they win." His words struck deep into every alien heart. They had lived their whole lives believing that death, once close, could not be challenged. To fight against it was foolish. To resist it was dishonor. But the humans had shown a different path. A path where even the weakest breath was worth saving. Inside the tent, a medic staggered, wiping blood from his hands. His face was exhausted, his uniform soaked, but his eyes burned with determination. He looked at the alien leader and gave a tired smile. "Rough night," he said, "but we saved most of them." The alien leader's throat tightened. Saved most of them. In his world, none of these men would have been saved. His people would have given them peace, moved on, and forgotten their names. But the humans remembered every name, every face, every drop of blood. One alien medic whispered, "They are not healers, they are fighters in another kind of war." The leader nodded. "Yes, and perhaps the most dangerous war of all." As the sun rose, the tent glowed brighter. The alien medics watched as human soldiers, some missing limbs, some covered in bandages, tried to sit up and joke with each other. Broken, yes, but alive. For the first time, the aliens felt fear that had nothing to do with weapons. It was not the humans, guns, or ships that frightened them. It was their will, their refusal to surrender to death, their belief that every life was worth fighting for. The leader finally spoke again, his voice low but heavy with meaning. "We thought we came to this war to fight beside warriors, but we were wrong. We came to fight beside a species that even death itself cannot easily claim." The word spread among the alien medics like fire. Some looked in awe, others in fear, but none could deny the truth. A young alien medic, still trembling, whispered, "What kind of beings are they?" The leader's eyes narrowed, staring at the humans inside the tent. "Beings who will outlast us all," he answered. The humans, unaware of the alien fear, kept working. They cleaned tools, prepared bandages, and checked on the wounded. To them, this was not strange. This was duty. This was normal. But to the aliens, it was revelation. When the sun rose fully and the battlefield was clear, the aliens would leave with a story they could never forget. A story of how humans turned a blood-soaked tent into a place where even the dead could return. A story of how human doctors fought with the same courage as their soldiers. And in the quiet of the morning, as the medics outside the tent stood, in silence, one truth echoed in their minds. If humans could fight death itself, what hope did any enemy in the galaxy have against them? The galaxy had seen human weapons. The galaxy had feared human armies. But now, the galaxy would learn something even more terrifying. Humanity's greatest strength was not just in battle. It was in their refusal to give up, even when life itself was slipping away. That was the lesson the aliens carried. That was the truth that made them tremble. The day alien medics fainted at the sight of human battlefield medicine was not the day they learned about human healing. It was the day they learned about the human spirit,